Welcome back, guys. Here we are back into another load of work on the K70 build, and it's going to start getting a bit technical now. So the next basically job is to get the anti-roll bar in, and then we're going to start mounting engine and box. Once we've got the engine and box mounted, we can kind of work out where the tunnel's going to be, and we can kind of go all the way through and tie in everything with the back now. Right, so first job is anti-roll bar. Now, if anybody knows how I did the 4-link, and you'll see this concept come in again with a long threaded bolt. Right, so this is my anti-roll bar kit that I make with bushes and 2 bits of tube and stuff like that, and these brackets. Now, these brackets are going to go, these brackets are designed, you'll kind of see how it works. One will go on one side and one will go on the other side. So the one will be welded into the chassis, and this one will be welded into the anti-roll bar, which will be welded onto this, okay? So this one will have 2 mounts on, like as you can see, and then that will be bolted into the chassis, and that will be inside this piece on the chassis, and then this will have a gusset on here, tying it like that, and then we can put some long through bolts through. And then that's job basically done, and then that's how that bolts onto the chassis. Right, so we got all the anti-roll bar ends all welded up and the right distance apart. So that welded up really nice. See where I welded it. So they're all ready, and we've got the other bit ready. So there's all the bushings, all the brackets basically mounted up, even the washers. So the washers are going to stop the bar sliding side to side in the car once it's in. So next thing to do is we're going to slide everything into the middle, and we're going to weld both of the ends on, and then we can get it on the car and get it tacked up, and then we've got an idea where the washers are going to be and everything. So let's get the ends on first, and then we know we're going to get them level then, and then we can get the rest done. Let's crack on. Right, so we've got the bar exactly right width now, which is exactly 32 inches. So we've got that right to the end. I've put some angled magnets on here, so we know that that's 90 degrees to there. We're going to tack it on the outside and then tack it on the inside, so that doesn't move. And then we've got that completely secure. And then once they're completely secure, we'll move all this in so none of this gets burnt. And then basically we can fully weld it basically and just get that completely sorted. And then what we'll do while it's cooling down is we'll measure the width of where these brackets are going to be, and then we can weld these washers on. We're going to tack them on first, try them onto the car, just double check, and then we'll put it back on. So that's the plan. So let's get welding on, get the tack on. True as well, which is good. So we'll get them off now. And then I might even just quickly offer it into the car and see where it's going to sit, and then we'll come back and we weld that up. So just offered that in the car, that's perfect. And I've done the measurement for where their washers, these are going to be, where the washer stops are going to be. And they're going to be 75. So we'll put them there. And I'll just sit this flush against it to tack it. And then we can move it away. Okay, so we'll tack that on, top and bottom, or side to back, front to back maybe, and then we'll move the bushes and the centre, the brackets away. Okay, so those can come right out the way now. Now you're going to get hot, and then we can do full nuke mode. Now let's get it all welded on. I'll tack these top and bottom as well, and then we can fully send it in then. So that's that all welded up nicely. Nice. So yeah, that's all ready to go on the car now. So the next thing is let that cool down, and then we're going to get an angle finder out on the car, and then probably a couple of cable ties to tie it round so we know it's not going to move, and we can get an angle finder exactly right, and then I can tack it on with all the little brackets on the car, and then we know where the drop links are going to be and everything then. You can see, like, you've got to make sure all these little bolts are around the right way, because otherwise you ain't going to get them out. I think the axle is slightly on the piss at the moment in the car, just because I haven't adjusted the forelink properly. But this side I know is dead in the middle, so we'll work off this side. That's dead in the middle, that's dead through there, so it's pretty much where it's going to be. Now we just need to eye it up. So at the moment it's twisted, and just look down the tube best we can, and go from there. I might even get my angle finder and put it on here and here, so we know that that's dead true. I'm quite happy with that. I think that's going to work quite well. I've got to, let me think about this. I've got to, it wants to come slightly this way more. Let's twist that up. So there at 90 degrees. Right, happy with that now. So let's get, we've got the foot pedal, we've got the welder. So let's get these brackets tacked in. We can cut the cable ties off, and then we are good to go. I'm going to get some welding rod because I forgot that bit. Like a dummy. Right, so we got all them brackets mounted, and they've come out quite nice. So it's time to get the anti-roll bar back in. That's all ready to go back on. And then we can do the mounts for the axle. So that's the last job then. Once we've got that done, that'll be that job completely finished within reason. Yeah, I'm straight through that one. Right. We have an anti-roll bar. and it will free up as it gets better. Right, so all that's welded on now, both sides. So we're happy with that, and them drop links are fully adjusted down at the moment, but this car's on the lowest setting at the moment, and the brackets will come up more once we cut a little bit of the turret away, once we've got all these panels in. The other thing I've got to bear in mind is I've got to put the brackets down off that main frame rail down to, well, just off that main frame rail both sides, so we can carry a strap. So when we jack it up at the back, the axle doesn't fall. So I've got to bear that in mind before I start putting the floor in. So that might be the next job, which I won't bore you with. And then the next job for me is actually painting the engine, which I also won't bore you with, but I'll get that all cleaned up and ready. And then hopefully the bolts from the zinc coaters come back, and then we can get everything on the engine bolted up within reason, and get the engine and box mounted into the car. And then we can start doing gearbox mounts and working out where the pedal's going to be and everything then, and we can kind of get everything together and start getting up making engine mounts as well. So yeah, so let's keep going. We'll keep plugging away at it, and then hopefully soon we'll get some serious panels in, and then it will start falling into place. Then we're still on the worst stage at the moment, just a matter of work we've got to do. But once this is done, it will soon start flying together. It's in its new cubby hole. This has been a bit of a plan for a while because the workshop has gone crazy. In other news, we've got the engine back in the Corolla. I didn't film any of that, but we haven't had it running yet. So we'll probably do a startup video on that eventually. I've also been a bit cheating, and we've welded some panels in, and I've been making a new panel, as you can probably see. So these are all welded in now. They've obviously got it, all these have got to be cleaned up and ground down. But as you can see, that's all welded in. And I've actually started making this panel because it was late last night. I come back from a mate of mine, Wayne's, and I just wanted to crack on and just get a little bit of a panel out of the way. So before we weld this in and make sure it's 100% right, I'm going to make these panels and then just sit them in. Now the reason for that is I want to see how much this might be too much over this tube, because what I want to do is make sure there's a bit of a gap in between the panel and the weld, so I can get a weld in between. So that's the plan. So this one was pretty simple panel, notched it around the tube, as you can see, and it wasn't too much to do. And then I put the pattern in. It's literally just a flat panel, and then just to put that curve in, I bent it round the gas bottle. So a little bit of a trick just to get the kind of the right radius, because like it's a 6-inch radius, my bender. So we've got that done. So get these other two panels made, and then we can crack on. It's going to be a chaos day. We've got people coming in and out. So I don't know how much I'm going to get done, but it's progress is progress. So let's try and get this done. Right, so we got our template done, and I cut this out on the table rather than on the next piece of metal. And then we've got that into shape and put that onto a piece of metal, chop that out. I've actually even chopped the third one out because in theory it's exactly the same. So now we've got the pattern in, we'll check it in the car, and then we'll start putting the bead roll in, and then we can start basically clamping it in, or maybe even tacking it in, and then we can work on the other side and make sure that's 100% symmetrical. We've got the pattern for both sides now, so let's get the ball rolling and get these tacked in. So we've got these panels tacked in now. They're really simple to make, these ones. They're just nice and flat with a bit of a bead roll, nothing special. Long as the distances between each panel is symmetrical both sides, I'm happy. Kind of looks really funky now. Starting to take a bit of shape. So let's get them welded in. We'll get them completely welded in, and then that's the job done. And then we're going to get on to making this panel. That's all that welded in and looking fresh. It looks good. Got it welded in around the back as well, so come out quite nice and looks really trick. We're going to try and do this next panel now. We've also had some deliveries, so my dad just popped in and said we've had some deliveries, because some of the deliveries don't come here because of where they are. I'm guessing this is the rear panel from old school auto panel. So Dad's opened it because he didn't know what it was. And the coilovers and a few other things. So let's get a few unboxed and let's see what we got here. Rear panel, definitely. Rear panel. It's got a bit of stretch marks in it here and there, but we can dress them out. But at the end of the day, someone's making panels for them, you know what I mean? So that's great. So yeah, big thanks to Old School Auto Parts for that. I have no idea what that is. These must be the shocks. I'm guessing it's just paperwork, but anyway. Get in it one day. Right, so these are custom made to my order. So let's see. They're bloody heavy, you know.
see what these look like then. Wow. Yeah. Cool. So we've got the rear shocks in now, which is nice. And aluminium bodies. And yeah, so we get them on the car and make sure they're okay. So that's good as well. I don't know what's in this box, we will check it. Just a tool, the other thing is. So that's fine. Cool, so we've got a bit more parts, which is nice. Nice Gaz Gold rear coilovers, the same setup I had on the Sleeker, so we know this works. So that's another thing we can do. We can make the mounts for that and get the ride height completely set, and then that axle can come back off then. So that's nice. So yeah, let's put all that away and crack on. Right, so we got back in the Corona now. Still trying to get comfortable, which is a pain in the ass apparently. I've got a bit of a template, I've put a fold in it already. So did a quick measurement, but I haven't referenced anything yet. So it's probably still too wide. It is too wide by quite a bit. So we're going to try and get it in one side first. Get this template right, and then we can get it into the sheet steel. Template completely ready. I've done a few markings on it to alter it so it's perfect. This actually slightly dips down than that, which I kind of knew. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this bend in slightly lower, and then we'll hammer this shape in both sides. But while it's in and taped in, we're going to carry the pattern of the bead roll, so this line and that line matches up. So we're going to get that somewhere near first. So that's completely done, and then that's basically the whole reason why you do a full-on template like that. And then we can completely reference off this. So now when we make a piece of steel, we'll make it a little bit bigger, and we'll just work our way in. So let's get this panel made, and let's hopefully get it welded in. Fingers crossed. Now the day's calmed down a little bit, so let's crack on. Right, so we've got that panel pretty much ready to go in now. Gonna do a little bit of dressing, just a tiny bit to allow for the welds in the corner, and allow for the welds around here maybe. But yeah, quite impressed with that. Looks pretty trick. I was going to do something fancy in it, but I'm going to leave it, I think, just to keep it nice and simple, smooth, and looks nice, you know, like nice and simple and subtle. So yeah, let's get this panel drilled, ready to weld in. Right, I've tacked that in now. I've also put some screws in here to pull this floor up, but the floor is a little bit lower than I thought it was here, which is fine. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld it all in, and then I might put a bit of heat into the floor and just bring it up a little bit just to help it. Like these end bits are perfect, these down here is perfect, round here is perfect. So we'll get it welded in, and then we'll mess around with this bit after. It might be something I have to do later on, like as in when the axle's out, which won't be long, to be fair, until the axle's out, because now the coilovers are here, we can get them completely in, make the axle mounts for the coilovers on the axle, and yeah, we can go from there. Right, so next job, we are going to be making these floors. Now, first things first, get the template material back out, and we'll start sheeting that up. Now, it's going to be really tricky because the floors either side of this car are completely different, as you know. So obviously that's completely different, that tube's actually different, and also that's going to be a battery tray. So we're going to leave that one to second. This one's going to be quite tricky because it needs to have a panel that comes up and meets here as well. So it needs to bend up and go into that. But the tricky bit about this is if you look here, it's like an S-bend, which is what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a folded edge down here, and it's going to have to be stretched there and slightly shrunk there, so it follows right into that corner and then comes down. And then we're going to do a bead roll, which is fine. But the bead roll either side on this is going to be different no matter what, and the batch is going to be the other side anyway, so that's going to kind of knacker up how it will completely look symmetrical in the boot. But I've got to be careful, because I've got to think about this. I want to make a fuel tank, but I don't know where I'm going to put the fuel tank yet. So I'm on the fence about where to put the bead roll, because I want the bead roll to follow into the tank one way or another. So gonna have to get a thinking hat on and think ahead here of how I want it to kind of look and the design of it. It's really, really hard. I've been thinking of so many different ways I can do a tank, but I'm just trying to think of the best way. So I'm gonna do it halfway through the floor and halfway in the boot, I think. But I mean, I could even do it. Oh, torch on the floor. I could even do it level with there and then come down to here, kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm just gonna, instead of making it really difficult, I think I'll just concentrate on these panels and then concentrate on the tank and thing after, and go from there. So just make progress. I'm yabbiting on. Let's crack on, make a template for there. Got a template somewhere near. I've obviously made a few adjustments and markings, and I've been working out the bead roll. It's trying to work out what's going to look best. It's really tricky. The other thing I'm really worried about is how I'm going to get it in. What the? But I think we'll come to that when it happens. I'll make the panel and then work that out. I think it will go in one way. It's going to be a bit tricky, but I think it will come in this way. So, yeah, bit of working out to do, but yeah, I think that's going to look quite smart. And this line follows the contour of the rear panel. That follows the contour of that bead roll on the arch. So I've cut this panel out now, but I'm really confused about what to do with a bead roll. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to fold these edges now, that one and that one. I'm going to make sure I can get it in the car, which I think I can. I think it will go in through, like I say, through that one way. And then I'm going to decide on the bead roll, because that being quite a big bead roll is not really putting much strength in the panel here. So do I carry that on and then do a separate, like a box? I don't know. Right, so that's that panel all made up. We've got all the bead rolls in it now. It's kind of very hard to come up with the idea for the bead rolls, but it's actually worked. Knackered panel now.
God, please, no! 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 No!
But we got there in the end, and I put all the holes in it as well, ready to fit it in. I've even put a step in it, so it will join the rear panel here nicely. And so let's get it in, and even if it's just clamped in, then we'll start the other side. So I did the same with this panel. I used the actual template from the other side, which actually worked out pretty good because the template on this side was wider than this side, so we got that worked out. To get the bead rolls right and stuff, I put a fold back in here. Obviously going to take it back out, and then we can start bead rolling it, and then put that back in, and then shrink and stretch it so it got that curve like that one. And hopefully this pattern, the batch tray, is going to be here. I can show you briefly. So you can kind of just see a marking on there where the battery is going to be. So the battery is going to be there, which is going to be right by that fuel cap, which will be a funky little device later on. We'll put a bead roll step in here, like I did this side, so it's closer to that rear panel. So it'll be clamped in between the rear panel and the back panel I got from old school. I can't remember what they're called now. But anyway, so yeah, let's get that flattened out, put this in the bead roller, get the pattern done, and we're on the way there then. We're getting close. Right, so we've got all the bead rolled. Go back in. I haven't shrunk. I put the bend back in, but I haven't shrunk it up yet. So that's the shape. So we've got to now mark. Come on. There we go. We're going to now mark where we're going to shrink. We've got to stretch here. Got to stretch this fold here to, well, mainly from there to there is stretch. And then we can start thinking about shrinking this bit up here and then bringing this down. I haven't chopped any of this up here yet, so let's see how that works out, and then we can go from there. Hopefully it's looking close, but I've got a little bit of dressing to do, but I think it'll be quite nice. We'll see. Beautiful. That's both for the rear floors clamped in and ready to go. I'm quite chuffed with how it's come out. I'll be honest, I did knacker the bead roll on this one and had to English wheel it back out. That's why you can see it's been DA'd down, just to match that side, but we got there in the end. We can't always be perfect, just the way it is. Luckily enough, there was only a little bit of a fold on the one panel, so I managed to grind it out and flush it, pull it through the English wheel, and then put the new roll in. So yeah, quite chuffed with how it looks. It looks quite symmetrical, considering we had to put the battery tray in as well. But yeah, so quite a successful time on the Corolla, really. So let's thanks very much for watching. We're going to get into another couple of videos, maybe not so much on the Corolla, but maybe do other things as well, but we'll see.
and but we'll also keep this going and show you the progress. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe and get yourself on the merchandise as well.